Hello, this video is going to walk you through the neuron model for lab. Keep in mind that this particular part of the model right here and this model over here are actually part of the same cell. So we can see down here that it's been kind of like cut off. And so the other half of this cell is over here. And so this entire structure is actually over here. But just for the sake of the model, they've cut it so it fits in a smaller space. We are going to walk through the terms today in the same order as you have on your handout. And so, in this first section of the model, we have this larger region right here. This is called the cell body or the soma. You can tell me either one and that would be correct. And we know that this is the cell body because inside we have the nucleus. We can even see those little nuclear pores. Okay, sticking off the soma or the cell body, we have these extensions right here. These are the receptive ends, all these little gray guys. They are called the dendrites. Okay. We'll come back to those soon, but the dendrites ultimately receive signals from all of these other little guys, as you can see, causing a depolarization of the cell. And if there's enough depolarization to achieve threshold, an action potential will be generated here in this red funnel-shaped area. This is called the axon hillock. And the axon hillock leads directly into the axon, right? Again, this is cut off here and continues on this side of the model. Okay, if we look closer inside the axon, we see these little red squiggly beans. Those are mitochondria of the axon or mitochondria of the neuron. Mitochondrion is singular, mitochondria is plural, so pick which one you want and go with it. Now the next term on your list is synapse. And so we of course can't see the synapse here because the other part of the cell has been cut off as well. But what we can see is all of these little structures right here are actually the axon terminals. All right, so this and this right here. And so there's technically a tiny, tiny, tiny little space in between the synaptic bulb and the dendrite of this cell. And so on a lab practical or quiz, I would point to the space in between the bulb and the dendrite and ask you for what the space is, and that would be synapse. Okay, going back to the axon here, what we can see is that the axon is insulated by these cells that have been sectioned through. All right, this part right here is a full structure and has been cut so we can see inside. And so the structure, right, this little like hot dog looking thing here, and this structure right here is the myelin sheath. And we also know that the myelin sheath, the structure, is made up of, in the peripheral nervous system, Schwann cells. And so in order to get at the distinction between this structure being the myelin sheath versus what is the cell, I will ask you what is this right here. So this little red thing, this little red thing, that is the Schwann cell nucleus. Please tell me both. It is the Schwann cell and it is its nucleus. All right, next we can see that the myelin sheath is not continuous. It's actually made up of multiple Schwann cells. And so there's actually a little gap in between Schwann cell A and Schwann cell B. This gap is called a node of Ranvier. All right, and finally, as we'll see for the next exam, this structure right here is a connective tissue sheath that covers over the entire neuron and its myelin. This is called an endo for inside, neurium for around the neuron, and we'll see that that's an important part of nerve structure. Okay, so that is the neuron model.